real personalities influence our deliberations. Let us uphold always the obligations of unselfish comradeship and loyalty to our organization in the town of Cohasset. I now declare this meeting duly open for the transaction of business for the Cohasset Council on Aging, CEA. Okay, and we can go over the agenda. First of all, I want to apologize for last month.
Oh.
I got a call from the assessor's office that they had the senior tax program ready to roll and they wanted us to implement it. And then, of course, when we got here, we found out, this is a pipe dream. So I'm sorry I tied everyone up with that last time. I was hoodwinked, to be sure. Okay.
Surprised when I read the minutes.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't here last month. I was
Um,
really surprised. I said,
yeah.
whoa.
Well, I thought it was a done deal and we were ready to move forward with it. So I had a whole list of questions and, okay.
Jeff just got into the veterans thing. I think he's gonna figure it out.
Oh, good. What's he gonna do?
Rolling on. He drives a fit.
Always.
Oh, good, great.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was good then. It was, and the questions were really good that you had when the time comes.
Well, those questions will be back, I'm sure.
Right.
Okay, let's see. So on the agenda, I would like to change item 7 here, nominations. I'd like to do that at the end of the meeting after we do our comments. So that if we don't have anybody on Zoom or Diane can leave before we go through the nominations. So, we have the minutes from last month. Anybody have any comments on that? No, Bob, comment?
When I can.
Absolutely.
Thing was there.
He's
The
supposed to
agenda?
be As
Okay.
well as Glenn, yeah.
Good.
Make a motion to accept the.
With a second?
Okay.
Okay, great. We'll skip the pergola project for now. We have a treasurer's report.
Good morning. Pulling up my notes from, all right. For April, we have a regular month in our general fund, 27,480 expended. We're at, we've expended 79% of our budget. And we're 10 months into the year, which is 83%, so on target of where we are, where we want to be for budget. Under the grants, there was no activity for page 2 is the detail on them. For the ARPA and the pergola grants formula, we expended 1,700 to Contexture out of formula. And as far as the pergola goes, Glenn has said that he is expecting Hingham Lumber will give us our first, we'll make a first order of pergola materials and they'll be paid and submitted, and that invoice will be submitted to the state for reimbursement before June 30th. So we're hoping that that's still on plan.
We'll find out.
Right.
Now, obviously, we have to wait until we get approval for the 75,000 that we put in for at town meeting and then at the election afterwards, so the first week of June. So I don't want to expend anything to Hingham Lumber until we've got the 75 grand.
I thought
Okay.
we were doing the footing.
Yeah.
Well,
doing the- yeah.
we're doing the footing if we get the 75 grand.
Oh, that's only if I thought.
Yes.
one
I
way or
thought we were
another.
doing-
No.
I thought it was one way
Why
or
would we do
another.
a footing if we can't build the pergola?
Because
the-
then they were there and ready to go for when we do get. money.
Right.
We have to do the footing.
Because we
before
have to
July
use the money
1st.
by the end of
We
June.
Right.
needed to use that money
Right.
and we were
Right. Paul's here.
committed to doing this.
Yeah, maybe Paul can expand on that.
I do have input from Glenn
Okay,
when appropriate. So Glenn Pratt could not make the meeting, so he sent me the information to pass along to everybody. That all of the materials have been delivered and are stored at DPW right now. Michelle Leary has the bill and will process payment and discuss the details of reimbursement with Diane. The building permit has been applied for. The contractor for the site has been chosen. The balance of the material will be ordered the day after town meeting. And it would be delivered in 4 weeks. Construction could start as soon as the middle of July, and it would take about 2 weeks. And what our subcommittee will need to do, once we get approved at town meeting is to focus on the shades, canvas and awnings and, any furniture that we need, that would go underneath.
Okay. So we should have something up and running then by August.
We should be sitting under there. We should be sitting under there by August. That would be nice.
Yeah,
Again, I'm concerned about the
Yeah.
town meeting. Materials that have, some materials have already been purchased, Paul?
Yes, and that was part of the grant that we have to spend by,
Right.
June 30th.
Okay, so, and does that use up the 22 grand or whatever's left in that?
25.
It should use up the whole part of the grant. And Michelle Leary is taking care of that aspect of it.
Okay.
So what's
those-
the concern with town meeting that it won't get
Uh,
approved?
Yes. If we don't get approved, then we've got materials to build the footing. But should we move on that without it being approved? In other words,
Yeah,
if
so
it
we're-
doesn't get
we're-
approved, we've got to sit on it for a year.
No, so the material's been purchased, right? So then nothing's being moved until after the vote at town meeting on Monday. So
Oh,
if it,
but-
so I've yet to see anything not pass on CPC.
Yeah, as far as CPC goes.
No, I've never
It's
seen
usually
not pass either.
rubber stamp.
Well, let's hope that continues.
Well, we should all be there.
Yes.
Well, if everybody gets out to town meeting and votes, and if there's opposition to pergola, we can stand up and speak to it. I've already talked to a couple of people on advisory. We explained to them where the expense comes from, and they were very satisfied with it. They voted unanimously to support it.
Okay,
So we've got the backing of just about everyone in town.
well, we
That is
know at
assets.
those town meetings, things get approved and then the following Saturday they get,
Voted down.
disapproved.
There's no vote
No,
on
but
that.
this is-
There's no voting on
That's only
CPC
for
money?
an override.
No.
Nope.
Oh, okay, that's even better. All
Yeah.
right, good. So it's
This
just
is
a town
a
meeting.
straight up vote. We're lumped in with all kinds of other things for CPC on one article, so it's all for one and one for all on the vote.
Okay. Well, I know when we did speak to the CPC board, they were quite receptive. And we seemed very inexpensive compared to some of the other demands on the table.
Plus
So-
contributing.
Yes, yes, right, so.
So
Uh,
we are moving forward. And we're very mindful of our limitations when it comes to the spending and the procedure of moving forward with the project. So we've done what we're allowed to do so far with the spending. And then we'll wait for town meeting vote before we move any further.
Okay, now, have we picked the contractor yet? Have Glenn gone through all of that? I think he needed three
Glenn-
bids, right?
Yes, he already has gone through that. There is a town approved contractor.
Okay. Good. Any more questions on the pergola? Yeah,
The materials, what exactly do the materials include? Do they include the wood or just the materials for the footings?
It's
That we've
the
purchased
entire,
already.
I believe it's the entire pergola.
Oh,
So I've
So
got
the
pictures of it. I have pictures of it, all the lumber being loaded at DPW.
oh, nice.
hope
So
we have
it's in a-
walk on that.
Yeah, it's in a container. It's basically in a container
Wow,
there up there.
that's-
So
That's great.
Great.
Now, through the construction, is that gonna impede you at all?
No.
Okay, good. Good. Okay, any more on the pergola?
where do you hold the cookout with police and fire, that Father's Day cookout? That's still in June,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, in the past 2 years, we've had it inside, so
Okay.
it's just easier for serving. One year, we did give people the option of sitting outside, but it was too much. It was nice to have everybody contained place. So that's what we plan on doing this year too. And then the
Okay.
grill goes out back, out by the kitchen.
By the kitchen. Okay.
Yeah,
Bocce
by
court
the
grill.
kitchen.
Yep,
Yep.
okay, great.
Okay, that satisfies that. Then we
Yeah.
don't seem to be impeding, construction will not impede any programming or,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important and we understand what's happening so that we know, so you can plan. So if there
Sure.
are some nice days, like this week, there's gonna be some nice days coming up. So, okay, good.
yeah, so just, I think next month in June, when we, have everything finalized, when we have our board meeting, I think it would be probably at that point that we would want to talk to the pergola subcommittee. I know it's Jim and Elaine about focusing on what type of program we want to have out there, which would kind of yield a decision on what type of furnishings we need out there. And then, of course, the shades and then the roof awning. So those would be the priority. We have plenty of time to spend the money, so we don't have to make a decision right away, but the funding will be there and Elaine will be able to capture an account where that funding goes into. We already have one for when we built the facility, we had money set aside for outdoor furnishings, Elaine, so there's already an account there. I don't know if they'll put it in that same account or not.
Thanks for that update. That's great.
right.
Good to know.
Thank you, Paul.
Good,
Yeah.
thank you.
For that. All righty. So moving on then, unless, ready? Quick things, revolving fund. We're at an excess of expenses over receipts by only $400. We have a fund balance of 19,702. Gift accounts, we did receive an unrestricted $500 in April. Our expenses relate primarily to the social worker payroll. And our gift fund balance is $60,612. Unrestricted is $33,753. Comments or questions?
What's the restricted money?
There's several restricted funds, actually. And one of them, at some point, I think we want to start talking about how we're going to spend, and I think Bob would be helpful on this, Sylvia, that Cohasset Cares account. There's about 5,000 still sitting in Cohasset Cares, and we haven't expended that. It's been building over years. But we have 6 different funds within. We have the unrestricted, we have the social worker fund. That's really a gift, but a grant, but it's been included in the gift. That's not going to be growing anymore. We're just going to be expending
Right.
out for the remaining payroll to be paid. Then we have a MAP thing, which is these $5 items that come in and go out with respect to transportation. We have the Cohasset Cares, which has no activity, but started out, I believe, with the fire department, and then we ended up taking it over several years ago.
There's one particular donor every year who gives
Yeah.
$1,000 and he
Yeah.
writes the check out to Cohasset Elder Affairs
Yeah.
on behalf of, so it comes to us versus, we can discuss that later,
Yeah.
how to best.
That started like in 2019, I believe. We have the outreach, which is the second largest after our, it's 13,788 in that account. And there's another MAPC, taxi transport, minimal type of thing. So they're all called for, and we have that 33, which is another
Cool.
thing that we can always be thinking about for expansion activities, special things.
How much do we have to pay for these materials for the pergola? It's looking at 12.5 from 25 grand, so we're,
Well, they sent 12.5 over to us. We've spent $1,740, I believe it is,
okay,
on, the survey costs.
yeah.
And
the
we will
plans.
get the remaining 12.5 when invoices are submitted to the state for the remaining 25,000. To add up to.
Cardinal.
Yeah, there's a cardinal out there.
No, you can't come in.
No, so.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, he's just.
Yeah.
So just to clarify that, and
That's awesome.
we're gonna, out of the entire 25,000, we've expended 1,740
Correct.
and the rest
As of
we
April.
still have, okay.
And then but we do
see?
not have
Yeah.
reflected in this balance the 12.5 that will be coming to reimburse the expenses that we'll be making to come up to 25. Our total receipts will be 25,000 at the end of the day. Right now,
Okay.
they're only 12,500.
Okay.
Okay.
And that, by the end of the day, we're talking June?
Well, whenever they send it along and the record keeping takes place, it'll be the summer, I would expect.
Well, are we able to handle the Hingham lumber invoice?
Well, I
Every-
believe the town
everything will
covers the
be,
12,500.
Everything
Yeah.
will be expensed or it will be encumbered by June 30th, according to the contract.
Okay,
So Michelle Leary is handling that aspect of it.
There,
yeah.
thank you. Can we accept the treasurer's report?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of accepting the treasurer's report?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, can we move on to the director's report?
Hey, everybody. So on April 30th, we welcomed local hockey professional Michael O'Connell. That was great to get him here. He's, as you know, a local icon, diverse and illustrious hockey career. So it's great to have him. On May 7th, we celebrated our volunteers, our volunteer appreciation. We had a special gathering in the front room.
Oh, yeah.
That was great. We had it catered. We had mocktails, Suddenly Simple Caterer. She's also one of our celebrity chefs. So it was great to give back to a volunteer as well as have her here. We have got some great pictures. If you haven't seen them, I can send them out for those of you who couldn't make it. On May 9th, we celebrated Mother's Day. We had roses out front, donated by Stop and Shop. So everybody who came in the building was able to leave with one.
Nice.
We also had a magician and entertainer that people came, where it was free. I heard he was really good.
He
I didn't
was.
have a chance to go, he
He
was
was
really good.
Very entertaining.
Yeah, because those can go either way, right?
No, he was
So,
good.
yeah, we had heard good reviews, so he was good. On May 14th, we had part one of our two-part series of Meet the Authors, which is great. Patty is bringing in a lot of authors, which is wonderful. We're also collaborating now with the library. So it's
Great.
really good. There's a big audience for that. So, let me see. The Social Service League has coordinated our spring cleanup. If you notice out there, we have some pretty big weeds with all the rain. So they have someone coming in from Down to Earth Landscaping. And they're gonna take care of our beautiful rose bushes that are down this walkway too. And they're also gonna try to have him come in every couple of weeks to supplement launch. Launch is great, but this is a big property to take care of. So Social Service League is gonna try to hire this person to supplement. Yes, and the garden club continued to do our boxes out front. So I think the place is looking really good. In collaboration with Cohasset Rec, we now have a portable pickleball set up until June 13th over at the basketball court at the library. We just got a couple signups for that. People will be signing up here. We emailed Ted in the morning because he doesn't want to roll it out if there's nobody signed up. It's kind of a process. So, that's great to offer that. We know that's a big draw in Cohasset pickleball.
They
And
have EMTs on call.
I didn't ask that, but
Do we have a liability here?
I do not see a liability for that. No, I don't know.
I mean, is it ours or is it the rec department?
We're collaborating with the rec. They're rolling it out. He is, town property. He's designated to people in our population, the older adults from 10 to 1. He's also gonna have it available on Fridays to the general public. Okay, and it's helping them too. I am told that space there, that area, the basketball is being taken over by scooters and nannies. It is a great place to drive. So he wanted to kind of take that space. So it's helping us promote pickleball. It's helping rec. And Ted's been great to work with on this.
Well, if you can keep track of any of people that we bring over there,
Mhm.
if anybody gets injured.
Certainly, yep.
We'll hear about
You'll
it.
hear.
We'll
No,
hear
I don't want to hear about it in court.
through.
They must have did a waiver or something.
Well, hopefully, I know that even for bocce signed waivers, so Are we gonna do that for this too?
Property is in life.
I mean, the
I'll do-
waiver's not really that legal anyway.
I'll discuss that with Ted since it's taking
It's
place on his property.
Property that's insured.
So it's, yeah, so, okay,
So it's his property,
It's town property.
but it's
So
not our
using town
property.
property, there's no.
Good. Okay. Now, are you doing one up at the pool too?
No.
No, okay.
we have another bus trip coming up. This bus trip we're taking on ourselves, Cohasset. We are putting it out to other towns, but we're promoting it. Unlike the former trips, remember we collaborated with
Mhm.
Situate and Orwell. We kind of wanted to take it back just to get it under us, to have a little more control. The bus trips were good, but when we were before our people to go on a trip from another town, there was just some details that I didn't feel comfortable with. So we are really in control of it all. With
You were the
certain-
major domo on a lot of those, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Are you on this one too? No. Okay.
So this one is the Eagles Experience Tribute Show, and it's in Log Cabin in Holyoke, and the food is good. It's either lobster or prime ribs. So we already have some people signing up. So spread the word.
What's the charge for that?
It's 133, which is really good. It includes entertainment, dinner, and transportation. So
And you
And
get to
each
see
sign-
Holyoke.
yeah, you get to see her. And I like, I
It's a
have,
beautiful place. I had a wedding reception there.
Did you?
Ah,
I
there you
think
go.
about going because I
And
just want
and
to
you
see
live to
it.
tell the
I
tale.
live to tell the
Yeah,
tale.
there you go.
Yeah, in
Well, when
fact-
I was in Holyoke, all I can remember was nobody could speak English.
Oh,
Yeah,
what?
everybody's Spanish.
Oh, really? I didn't
Well, how long
realize
ago
that.
was that recently?
No, about 30 years ago.
Oh,
Oh, even 30 years.
Yeah.
Now, the log cabin is up at the top of Mount Tom. It's a beautiful spot. It's
Oh, great.
Miles out over the mountains.
And I'm gonna keep the registration with me, 'cause I like to screen people for mobility, some of
Yeah,
these trips.
that's a
they
good
really
idea.
say, Oh, I wanna go, and then I'll tell
Yeah.
them the details of
Yeah.
it and, politely discourage them or to bring a walker or a cane.
Mhm.
So that's another reason why I wanted to bring it back, because we had some folks going on these trips, departing and leaving from here, and
Yeah.
Diana, right? It could be, everybody got home safe, but um,
So if you-
yeah, I know. I would read the bus and I was there coming off the stairs.
Dodge that one.
Yeah.
Have you identified someone to replace Diana as major domo?
Well, for this one, we do have two comps, so, if,
No, I mean, as far as supervision and keeping the group together and everything that you've always done,
yes, so,
making sure nobody's left behind.
yes,
Can't speak
we do,
Spanish.
we do. First, we're trying to see if we meet the quota to hold the trip, and then we will have a designated
Okay.
guy, and we loved having you, so. She brought snacks to everybody too, so she was
Wow.
particularly
You
popular.
didn't behave, you didn't get it.
Yeah.
The motive.
You weren't back in that seat on time.
That's right.
Out of luck.
I used the old one, just take hands with the person next to you because that person's got to be there before we
There
leave.
you go.
Oh, no, goldfish.
So as everybody knows, Nancy announced her retirement, and it also went out in the May newsletter, so it's out to the general public now. And her job was posted on the town website. It was posted on May 13th. And I have applied for the position.
Good.
Great.
Yeah.
So
What
You
is that
know-
process going to involve? How long will that go on? Do we know?
Yeah, I can answer that question. I just talked to Chris about it on Friday. So we did post the job and we would like to move forward with it the way that we did last time when we were interviewing for Elder Affairs Director. So the way it's going to work is there'll be a pre-screening process. There's, of course, people going to apply that are not qualified, so I will pull those out. And then there's going to be a series of interviews with staff and a representative from the board, which is something we can talk about today or next time, however, if we want to think about it for a little bit. So there'll probably be 3 interviews, and then we'll all collaborate together and have feedback and kind of move forward from there.
Do we have a date in mind?
So Nancy's last official day is June 3rd.
Okay.
And so we just need to keep that in mind for budgetary reasons, but other than that, I think we'll probably advertise for another week. We have received a lot of applications, and then review and move forward from.
Enough so that we can have a decision by the July meeting?
I don't want to make any promises, but yes,
I'll hold you
probably
to it.
around that time. Yeah.
Okay, so that's our hope, because we don't
That's our
have a
hope.
meeting in August.
Okay, that's good to
Okay.
know.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a new town nurse. She has started, and she will be replacing Mary Goodwin. And I should have put her name in here, and
Joni
Tavana, Joni Tavana. So, and we'll be placing the sign on the nurse's door. We have that in the works. We did.
Will
have
it be an
increase-
opportunity for her to come and introduce herself to the board at the next meeting in June?
Oh, so that's a great idea. I can.
Well,
ask
she's
her.
typically here, Mondays at, for the cafe anyway, right?
And have her check Rich's blood pressure
Yeah.
before and then after the meeting.
So our numbers increased for April. That should say, no, that should be it. For April. We provided services, activities, and outreach to 400 individuals, resulting in 1,318 repeat visits. This is an increase of 10.5%
Good.
from the previous month. And for the website, that should say for April. March, sorry about that. The website received 200 visits, and that's an increase of 9%. So we're able to track how many times people go on there. So I'd like to get that number up more. I'd like to get more traffic on there. The website's great. It's just
Have they
programming
been
people
using
to-
it to book programs?
Well, there is a link on there to My Active Center, and we are only able to track the visits. We know who signs up on My Active Center, but I don't know if there's a way to track it, what route they go, whether they go right directly to My Active Center or through the website.
I don't think you can book anything on the website. I think you
Just
have
get
to
the
go
link.
to My Active Center.
But there's a link on the website.
There's
that
a link to
takes-
My Active Center.
Yeah, so
Have you
there's no
tried
way.
that?
I use My Active Center regularly.
Oh,
I have
okay.
a link from the website. That's just another step that somebody has to figure out. I mean, once you get to My Active Center,
More steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's,
But I mean, if the focus is to have these people go through the website and then launch in.
that would be ideal to have it available so they could book something on the website,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, My Active Center doesn't allow that at the moment.
But it allows you to get to My Active Center.
Get there from there.
Mhm, yeah.
But nobody's tried that as far as you know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure the link works. I don't.
Oh, it absolutely
Okay.
does. I just don't know. There's no way to tell how
Okay,
many
as
people
long as the link
visited the
works.
website to get the
Yeah,
link
to get
that
to the
way,
link,
or they
yeah.
went directly to My Active Center. So, and we do have a lot of people using My Active Center. I know we discussed before that there is a couple steps.
Yeah, I know that
beforehand.
once you use it, you go directly to the active.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the unfamiliar
Yeah.
folks that might find it daunting.
Okay, for transportation, 23 riders took a total of 191 rides, 127 those were for shopping, etc. 64 for medical, and 44 were using electric cars by 14 riders. And I don't know where the rest of that sentence went, but it was an increase of only 3% this month, so. So
Whose electric bike is outside?
there's a gentleman that comes every.
Oh,
He actually lives in Situate.
oh, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah.
I
And and even with the cold weather, we thought we'd see him less, but
Oh, yeah. I've
he's
seen that
really,
out
he
there a lot.
feels very welcomed here, so.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we love to see him. Whenever I see that bike, it makes me happy that he's still coming in. He wears the light on his
Yeah.
head. Yeah. Yeah.
This morning it's almost dangerous.
Yeah.
What-
Is that what you're afraid of
driving.
Oh, I wasn't here at 7. I wouldn't know.
Oh.
Oh,
He drives that electric bike.
Oh, he does? Yeah.
Yes, scary. Very quick. Very fast.
Can we chip in for a helm?
Yeah.
I hopefully there's one
I
out there.
think
You don't
I
see
think
one
he
on the
wears
Does
bike?
he have a helm?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
does,
yeah. So that's that.
Any
Yeah.
questions for Diane?
You know, Liza, in talking with Liza, she said there's a need for more fish drivers. And she wanted to know how to advertise that. So can spread the word, that would be great.
I do have one comment about the pickleball. we were extremely vocal at Elder Affairs for about a year and a half on pickleball for seniors. And we even got to the point where we talked about putting some temporary pickleball courts in, either in the parking lot or in different areas of the town. As you all recall, the select board went crazy with trying to figure out pickleball and tennis courts for the town and going back and forth on all of this stuff. So this is a great opportunity for us to work with rec and to be able to provide pickleball for the seniors just right across the street. There's access to the rec department, which is on ground level in the facility that's right there. So there's, air conditioning there. I think we should be able to promote the ability for those who want to play pickleball, that we have our time kind of blocked out. So I'd like to see if we can really promote this. This is something that, we've felt very strongly about for a year and a half, and it kind of faded away because there was no place to go play pickleball. And now that we're going to have that opportunity, I'd really like to see how we can get attendance up on pickleball. So that's my only take.
I agree, Paul. This has been a need we've wanted for a while, and a lot of people have, expressed interest. So we've promoted every way we can. There's a sign, even if you did just see the sign on the way in, Records promoting on Facebook 143, on our website, in our newsletter. I wrote about it in the upcoming June in the
Have you
call.
seen it, have you seen it evolve? Have you seen it come out and be laid out?
Not yet, not yet. This this is very new. It just started
week.
last Thursday. So Wednesday or Thursday, and then he didn't roll it out one day because we didn't have it. We had our first signups. So I have a feeling what it's going to be is someone's going to try it with their group, and then just set,
Mhm.
go forward. And equipment is also available at the rec. We suggest you bring your own, but if you don't have it, he'll have it outside the door. And all the facilities are right there for people to go in, air conditioned. So
Good.
I can promote it with the bocce group. I don't know that we'll get anybody that adventurous, but
So it's from 10 to 1?
from
every day,
It is,
except Friday.
except Fridays, which he's gonna make it available to the general public, everybody. So you could still go, but it's for 60 and over our folks,
Okay.
Thursday. And then I think it's see how this goes. It's only till, June, but because June 13th, because then camps and all that
Yep.
starts in the traffic. So that's the rationale for that. Okay.
Oh, no, wait, I'm misunderstanding the June 13th,
Yeah, this is running through through June 13th.
from now until June
Mm-hmm.
13th.
Correct.
Through June, yeah. and
Okay.
then- What's that?
Which days did you say 10 o'clock?
We're Monday through Thursday. Yeah, Monday through Thursday. From 10 to 1, hour increments.
And all signups through you.
Oh,
It's not a
yes.
show up.
Yeah, right, sign up. That's what our participate, and then we email Ted in the morning. We're also backup if he's on vacation, needs help putting up the tents, the nets or taking them down. So
Are we transporting anybody?
if they ask,
Okay.
if they ask.
Well, if they're gonna go
I was gonna say, I didn't. Pickleball.
Sorry, but
I've seen these people in Florida. They would definitely need transportation.
We all do a light bulb.
hope they can walk
As you know, I've been always for this
Oh,
opportunity. Has your husband healed up?
No, he's not healed up, and he will be happy to donate his equipment to her. It'll be over there this afternoon.
Oh,
He wouldn't touch it.
see, smart man.
Did you have
Okay.
any questions for me? Any other questions?
Can we get a motion on the director's report?
Oh,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I just had one little question. I wanted to know if, in the hiring process for the director's report, would it be good for us or not to make a recommendation of Diane?
So I would suggest if you're gonna do it, to do it as a team, as a board, and not do individual, because I think that presents differently, but I think it would be great if, as a board, that's what you would like to.
Yeah, and the Friends also wanted to
Yeah.
do a letter.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Who should those be directed to?
You can send them to myself and Chris. That would
Okay,
be probably the best.
so I think as a board, we ought to write something and submit it as soon as we can.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is it premature to do that now?
I would do it sooner than later.
Okay. Okay.
And the selectmen have the final sign off on this, don't they?
No.
No.
I don't-
think
they don't.
usually
The way
fire.
that the process worked last time when we were selecting a member, so the position is a direct hire from the town manager, so he has the ultimate decision. And doesn't go in front of the select board at all.
Great.
There was a committee last time that that Chris Senior had set up. It was myself from Elder Affairs. It was the fire chief, the police chief, and then there were two other department heads that were in town hall. So there were 5 altogether, and Marion Johnson, who was the HR director at the time, she was there as well. So the interviews were pretty structured where the questions were written for us, so that each person who interviewed got the same question. So we each read a question to the interviewee, and there was 5 of us present during the interview along with Marion. And that was the process. So I don't know if that's going to be the same process this go around, but that's how it went last time. And at that point, we had about 4 or 5 people who we interviewed, and Nancy was the last person we interviewed.
Who wrote these questions, Paul?
Marion Johnson, she was the HR director for the town of Cohasset.
Mm-hmm.
And that worked pretty well?
It worked
That
really
process?
well. It did work well. I mean, we got some, we got some really good people, but they weren't, they were mostly from a lot of the centers of in Boston that cater to elder affairs issues. There was only one person who was actually an assistant director at a senior center down in Carver, I think it was. Of course, I preferred Nancy to begin with because she had been here for quite some time as the assistant director. So that's that process went very well. And there were some good people out there, but they weren't geared toward working with seniors every day. They worked in an administrative role, studying seniors.
Couple
but it
PhDs in
wasn't,
there, yeah, which is fine, but they'd never worked with them.
So Megan, does that mean
Yeah.
you'd be writing these questions this time?
That's correct. So I'd probably collaborate with the team that gets put together of staff and probably fire and police will be 2 of them, probably somebody from community services,
Mhm.
somebody from the board. So I'm a little bit more collaborative than Miriam, which is
Mhm.
just a little different, my style. So I would probably put some questions together and shoot them out to the team and see what everybody, thinks. And yeah, so.
So how is the board member chosen to be on this?
Well, that's a great question. I don't know if, it's something that you want to talk amongst yourself. I know, Paul has just indicated that he did it previously. I think that's a nice quality to have, just because he's been through the process. Ultimately, I think, you all can discuss it and would be, run by Chris and, but it's up for discussion. I don't think there's a huge, I don't think there's.
TBD.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe if you're interested, you could email me. Is that a nice process?
Sure.
And then,
Yeah.
we can talk about, if there's more than one, maybe there's, room for two folks. And we'll just try to be as
I would-
flexible and inclusive as possible, but
The
I
board
don't
should
wanna,
be concerned.
I don't wanna over interview somebody, right? So when you go into an
Mhm.
interview and there's
Yeah.
15 people there, it's a little,
Yeah.
there's a lot of red flags that go off as a candidate when you
Yeah.
walk into a
I
room and
just
there's
think
that
that
many people.
we can, the board should come to, have our own discussion about who wants
Mm-hmm.
to represent us.
Yeah.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
perfect.
And can we submit some questions that we think are important also?
Yeah.
Well, whatever board member we settle on, we
Mhm.
could
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
agree
the
to
question.
Yeah,
give that
that's
person.
great. I'm very open
question.
to whatever people want to ask. My perception of good questions and your perception of questions that need to be asked are going to be different. So we want to have a diverse group of questions so that we can really thoroughly vet these folks. So
Thank you.
Why don't we talk when we get into our nominations
Yeah.
after that? We'll talk amongst ourselves as how we want to move.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can we accept, are there any motions on Diane's report?
Move to
Motion to
accept the
accept.
director's report.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay. So now then if we can, for the subcommittee reports, what I was looking for, we've already got the subcommittee, report from Pergola, which is good, but I was interested in the vans as well. So, I know the plates are finally on the new truck.
Oh, yes, yes, and actually, I think we're gonna be able to hit the road this week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah, so, the Dave Forty from the bus company was here. I was out Friday again, my daughter graduated, so, but he was here fixing some
Megan,
final
thanks a lot.
things.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thanks,
Megan.
Megan.
Thank you.
Come
Kept the
again.
van overnight, 7-hour drive to get here from where the company is. Pretty amazing. So he came out, finalized some stuff. The only thing we're waiting on now is the radios. They're being ordered, and then we'll have a local vendor put them in. But we have the plates. The process took longer than expected. But there's many reasons for
Yeah, we've
that.
had the van for a month.
I know.
5 weeks.
I know,
5
and
weeks.
it wasn't desired, so, and next time I think going to the registry myself might move things
Oh.
along, but, or however that works.
Well,
but-
we weren't in a bind, so.
Yeah, so we
yeah.
had, so, and, so we should be taking it out this week. It's interesting though, when you see it, it's very similar to the,
I was trying to tell which one was doing which.
Hubcaps,
That
hubcaps.
was the giveaway.
Yeah, hubcaps.
but it's, the old van, the older van, so we're calling it new van 4 and old van 4, a lot of thought went into that. But the older van, it was having some issues, so we're really excited about that. So yes, and then once we get through this, we'll move forward and we'll know the process. We're gonna keep a spreadsheet on all the vehicles. Paul had suggested that, which is something I wanted to do anyway. Just, we keep all the, but when something needs an oil change, tire rotation,
Right.
just the VIN number, any warranty issues, when it was last serviced, where it goes. It's a lot taking care of these vehicles, and Liza does a great job with it, but, it definitely, she needs a little more support with that. And Bob's willing to help with that too.
Well, where are we on the other vehicles?
I think we were trying to get through this process right now,
Oh,
and I
but
know, but
We've already gone to capital appropriations on that.
But we have to
Paul,
wait for town meeting for approval
Okay.
of the spending. Yep.
and then I think things can move along pretty quick, so.
Well, I remember going to that capital meeting and I was very impressed with you, Paul. That's why I was calling you our music man. We got trouble right here in CEA.
I hear you. Yeah,
And
so-
it worked out beautifully.
Well, I'm hoping for some positive outcome here because we've got, the vans on the list, which are kind of lumped in with other things, which, kind of helps us out because it's, there's no really line item veto. It happens on occasion, but usually capital budget gets approved with everything kind of lumped in there. So we should be okay.
Okay. Well, I want to share your confidence. Okay, I think, we've got Bob running the lead on all of this, but I think the board needs to have a subcommittee involved in this as well. All the future vehicles that we're planning.
So we did do that. about a month or two ago, I volunteered to do that with Bob Sylvia. So I know Bob's not a
just you
board
and Bob?
member. To go in front of Capitol and push the vans.
Yeah,
So I did, it was Bob and myself, and actually you were there as well. So we in effect have set the subcommittee on it.
okay. Well, then I'll officially be part of that subcommittee then,
Okay, yeah.
Paul, Bob and I.
Yeah.
It's where Bob's not a member. I just want to make sure we don't leave him hanging out there.
No, that's, well, the beauty of the subcommittees, when we set up the bylaws, is that you don't have to be a board member to be on the subcommittee. In
Okay.
fact, in fact, we kind of encourage subcommittees to go outside of the board. So then it wouldn't be a board making a decision and we'd have to have a quorum. So that's the purpose actually of the subcommittee, is not to have a number of board members on there to where it would justify a quorum. So, and it actually fosters participation from other seniors that are not on the board, which is something we'd like to encourage, is to get other people involved in some of our decision making.
Well, another subcommittee that we started to bring up last meeting was the senior tax write-off committee. I'd like to table that until July, so we get our ducks in a row here, see where we are with the new director, and then start dealing with the senior tax, because I think that's gonna be a big deal for us, and a lot of work. So put a subcommittee together then in the July meeting.
Yeah, so have
that's
you,
all with everybody.
so when we go into that meeting, would you be able to have information on how the process is going so far on the veteran side of the tax credits?
Absolutely.
Okay.
How is it going on the veteran side of the?
For me, it's going terrifically.
Well, you
Uh,
haven't seen any money yet, though.
No, I haven't. I mean, that's the other side of it.
Right, that's where
Uh,
the road.
I mean, what we're able to do on the senior tax is, I mean, not on the senior tax, on the veterans tax, is work 100 hours towards.
Right, we have a
$1,500.
process established and people have a sign-up process established.
Yes,
So that you
and quarries and everything else.
fill out all the paperwork, but as to when it actually implements, when will you see that on your tax bill as
Supposed to be the fourth quarter
the fourth quarter?
next year.
Next,
So I think the window closes sometime in November,
uh,
counting the hours. I've already got 75 hours into
So-
this thing.
hours are being accumulated as we speak.
Yes.
Okay.
For 2020.
No, for 2025.
When did that begin?
January 1st,
Okay, so any hours accumulated from January first this year will
right?
be counted towards next year's.
It's gotta be, but for the veterans, it's gotta all go through Phil Mahoney. Like every month I give him a report on my hours. I also give a report to CEA and the
You give
library.
Phil a report on your hours, so anybody involved in this program is responsible for submitting their hours to
How
Phil
do they
Mahoney?
Verify them or document 'em?
And how does,
What?
who knows that?
Well, you work with the head of the departments wherever you are. For instance, I spent a lot of time at the library. So I initially set that up with Megan, and now I have Ashley Norton, who's in charge of all my hours. So I report into her when I get there and when I leave, and I send her a report as month.
Okay,
month-
so somebody like me whose hours are here, those are all documented on the
Yeah.
check-in at the kiosk, right?
Well,
So,
you've got to make sure your trust is approved first, or you're wasting your time.
Have you sent in your paperwork?
I've done all that.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
All that
So-
sign
The
up.
assessor has said your trust is okay, you can collect hours.
Nobody asked me for
Well, that's
anything.
a
You have
big
to go
part
to
of
the
it.
assessor's
Yeah.
office.
Yeah.
That's why the assessors were here last month. Obviously, we.
I've been to
done it
town
different.
hall and filled out paperwork. There's an additional person to go and talk to?
You talk to the assessors, they read your trust and verify that you're able to sell your own houses, basically.
Oh, you're talking about if your house is in a trust. Okay, all right,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So they've got to check that out.
Oh,
You
okay.
don't want to waste your time. You
Yes.
wanna-
Yeah,
You want to
yeah,
make sure
that-
that that's,
Yeah. Okay.
and then Phil runs a query and that starts the ball
And
rolling.
then you'll submit hours.
Well, what you would do, your hours, even though you put them in on the thing, we
Yeah.
were asking that you give them to Tricia. Tricia has been assigned
Tricia's
tracking.
fine.
And then
I give my
Tricia,
CEA hours to Tricia.
and then Tricia emails Phil, so.
Ah,
But
So-
again, the hours aren't collected until November anyway.
yeah,
But
okay.
what I do on a monthly, because I got a spreadsheet where I keep
Yeah,
track of all this
yeah.
stuff. So on a monthly basis, I list my hours here and my hours at the library.
So that answers your question. Where's their oversight? You know, so there is there is a process where.
And you probably would have to go, you don't need it for here, I don't think, but you would probably have to go in front of the head of whatever department you're working for and get approval. And make sure you're
Is
not.
this all laid out anywhere on a
No,
piece of paper?
No, that's
How
part of what
many
we're gonna need to do.
need to know all this?
That's because I'm the one that fought it for 2 years and tried to implement this. So I'm pretty much writing the rules.
So you are going to produce a sheet that somebody can
The guideline.
know?
What to do.
I mean, if somebody just walks into town hall and says, I'm a veteran, how do I do this?
Phil Mahoney.
Yeah.
They're gonna
They'll
send them to Phil Mahoney?
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a way of checking. They have a database.
Yeah, I thought with Jeff, it was very quick. Once I got him to fill out the paperwork and it says right on it, you send it to Phil Mahoney.
Hmm.
Like within 24 hours, Phil got back to him and said, okay, this is set now. You have to go to the assessor's office.
Right.
Talk to them and. do
And fill out their
And then
paperwork.
they.
Well,
sent us
actually,
and
there
said,
was
"You're
very
there."
little paperwork there. They
Yeah,
just
he
looked.
wrote
at the
back and
process.
There's a
said you're all set.
W-2, there's a,
No.
yeah, I had to sign
Yeah,
a,
he did.
Well, maybe I did. I don't remember.
Yeah.
you
been
do,
so long
you're a town
ago.
employee, that's how this is.
No, you're not a town employee. That's
That's
part of,
what I was told.
no, that's part of the deal. You can't be a volunteer and also be an employee.
Well, they're saying for their way to process and credit it, that's
Right.
how they're.
Still have to
treating
take
it.
taxes out.
Wasn't
Yeah.
that the conversation we had last?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what this,
Yeah.
it's
It's
very
for
much
their-
up in
it's
the
for
air.
their
And since the Valor Act was passed, we've got a whole new assessor's office. So things are very
Mhm.
fluid.
Although Rachel seemed, because
She's
of
out
her
of Situate.
experience in Rockland,
Well,
she was in
Situate.
Rockland, she knew. No,
Not Rachel, I'm sorry,
Carlisle.
I'm talking Jackie.
Jackie.
But
Jackie.
Rachel, I think, saw a lot of vets over
Yeah.
in Rockland, so- and they already were doing it, I
Right.
think, and so she seemed pretty up on
Yeah.
it.
Do we know how many people are doing this?
We set the limit on the Valor Act at 10.
Oh.
But it was arbitrary. We just wanted to see how it would
Yeah.
run. We didn't want to.
And do we
Flood
know
it too
now
much.
how many are
I think-
currently?
I think if you're in there and Jeff's in there, there's 3.
It's just the three of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Jeff.
And the biggest problem, which we're gonna have the same problem with the tax write-off, I don't want to get too far into it. We've got to get jobs. We got to get opportunities. And right now, the only opportunity is here in the library.
A fish driver would be great.
Well,
Yeah,
that's, I did that, but never got called. So I said, "What the
Well,
hell with this?"
Yeah, the need varies.
Yeah, so I mean, if
Well,
you're gonna
so
volunteer.
It depends what day you sign up for.
Well, I signed up for 2 days in
Oh.
January and didn't get a single, got dedicated to 2 days to do it, so I didn't get any hours. So one of the things I think when we go through our process with the subcommittee is we're gonna have to set up some sort of minimums. Where if you say volunteer to be a fish driver for a day, that you get 2 hours automatically, even if you're not called, something like that.
I agree with that completely, because your time is valuable. You're
sure.
you're allotting that
Yeah.
time, so.
But I mean, we don't have that yet, but that's part of, this is all fluid. That's part of what the subcommittee will put together is all of these details. And I've got a million details, but the idea is I don't want to put them all in there. Because it becomes too restrictive. If it get to a point where it's volunteer work, I don't want to make a hassle just to
Yeah.
get out and do it.
Rockland's submitting to their town meeting. I reached out. I see.
Yeah, I don't like their proposal.
Oh,
So-
okay. All
But that's
right.
part of the subcommittee.
Okay,
We'll review all the proposals at all
All
the
right.
other towns who are much further ahead on this than we are.
okay.
And with the guidelines from the state, but again, I wanted to push that
How
off till
much are they to
July.
get off?
$1,500 minus 8%.
Just tell me.
Yeah.
It helps.
8%.
you know,
Sure,
it helps.
Well, I like working at the library because I don't have to talk to anybody.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Well, I think the fish driver thing is a good idea because, I mean, I do it quite a bit, but it's, you have all types of people and they need it,
Mhm.
you know?
I rarely don't get called.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I really don't get called.
Huh.
This past month, May, I didn't, which I was.
They must have heard about you.
I guess. No, I was on for 2 days.
Most every month
Yeah.
And that, in order to do that, you gotta go you gotta go to the registry. Or through the registry to get a driving record and all that sort of stuff. And a quarry. And all of those things.
Yeah,
But they
it
just-
wasn't that big a deal.
No, it
You
wasn't.
go, you can go online.
Yeah, you
It
go
was
online.
$7 last time I
Eight-
did it. Oh, it's up to
$8.
8 now. Okay.
But I was already reimbursed.
Oh, good,
so-
good. It will reimburse for that. Yes.
Okay, do we have any other feedback to the offices? Anybody, any members have any feedback? Anything they've heard? Suggestion box, anything coming out
I
of there?
didn't see anything in there unless
Okay.
something came in Friday and I missed it.
There's
so.
probably no pickleball, but you tore that up.
I think, things are moving along. I think the programming's great. Having, again, I've mentioned this before, but having Patty Smith, assist with the
Oh, I
programming.
did want to ask, my wife, a friend of Paul's and Beth's, asked me whether or not the Affordable Housing Committee could hold a reception here for Habitat.
For
the
human-
community.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they want liquor, but I mean, I know it's going to be an evening meeting
Yeah, I
in
think-
June.
I think, it's town-related business. I think that is something that we could.
They had one a year ago here.
You have more information on this than I do.
On having-
Yeah,
that's-
yeah,
Yeah, well,
we'd
on
be
having
happy.
the, whatever they call it, fundraiser. or-
Yeah, they're, Paul too, they're wanting us, talking about doing this house party and we're all like, well, we don't necessarily want to try to do it at our house. So we thought, they wanted us to sort of gather people that might be willing to make donations, because we're still a little bit short, or solicit products in kind, from either plumbers or, well, I think they have their own like contractors that usually help them out and volunteer their time, but I think it was mostly they're trying to get us to see if we can drum up some more people to make some donations. Part of the problem's been, I think now that something's actually happened over there and people can
Yes.
focus on it and see
It's
it,
whole.
and if they want to volunteer
Yeah.
to actually physically go there and spend a day doing stuff. Now people will tune in. They've been kind of, we keep asking them, well, how can we do this? And they're like, it's not time, or they have their usual people that make donations that they've been hitting up. So now that it's actually, they're gonna start having volunteers at the site and everything, I think it's more of a reality, and people might say, okay, I'll donate $100 or I'll donate. You can also do team builds, like, I think that was what, Paul, like $500, you could have a team, depending what your group
Yeah,
was.
so they have, Habitat, because it's a national organization, they pretty much, have a lot of corporations that have volunteer day in their company, right? So the corporation will donate money, and have their employees on site volunteer to do whatever the work of the day is. We thought we could be more specific and say, hey, we'd like to paint, or we would like to plant. But that's not how they operate at Habitat. So basically, they ask groups to sign up to volunteer, and that group, they're asked to create donations, right? So, Taffy did the plunge. She went out and got donations on behalf of her plunge. So it's kind of like that. You get together a group of people who to volunteer, and then, you ask friends and neighbors to donate towards your cause of work. So that's how they run their volunteer program. But you don't get to pick what you want to volunteer to do. So if you volunteer for Saturday, July 13th, then whatever they're doing on July 13th that day is what you would be volunteering to do. So they could be, raking, they could be nailing the ceiling, they could be drywalling, who knows? We don't know what type of work will be there the day that you would volunteer. So they do limit the number of volunteers on the site, and you have to be 16 years or older to be a volunteer. So those are kind of their criteria. So we were thinking that maybe we would have an event for folks who can't volunteer physically, that may want to volunteer financially, and maybe get together either here at the Wilcott Center or have an event, somewhere where we can get folks to get together and donate some money towards a cause. So that's kind of the idea behind it.
And Mary proposed, what she said, Wednesday, June 26th, or a backup June 27th. She did advise.
That's a
now,
Wednesday night or a Thursday night. So we, we could get something together. We could work with friends and, you know, maybe we get a group together, for seniors for Habitat, for instance, and, maybe we all, pitch in $20 or something like that and raise money that way. We can do that. Have a gathering, somewhat like a cafe. We can do it at night. It's however the folks want to get together and kind of put their ideas together.
But that's a function that we could have here.
I would love
Okay,
to have.
For
that
those
here. They've been
dates.
very, very helpful. I've had quite a few clients who've benefited from that program.
okay, good. Well, I will pass it back to the person I report to. Okay, thank you. Anything else to bring up to the board?
I understand that, I've had a couple of comments from folks over the last month or so about us being very vocal on using the facility for something other than senior events. So I have gotten feedback from people. I noticed that I think the next election is going to be at the Deer Hill School, I believe. So it will not be at the Wilcott Center.
Well, it better not be at the Wilcott Center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So,
question was the September election.
Well, I've
Yeah.
already told them no, and I haven't heard back.
so with that said, I did get, some negative feedback from folks saying that we were more aggressive in our approach to being vocal about it, though they know what the deed restriction is, that we can't displace any senior events, which is what had occurred.
Yes,
So they
175 seniors were displaced the last.
Correct.
Programs canceled, et cetera. It was
Yeah.
awful.
Right, and all I'm saying is you asked for feedback, and I'm letting you know that they felt that the tone was a little more aggressive than usual. So I'm just,
Who was,
Yeah, who's
who
they?
were giving
Who
you
was
the
they?
feedback? Were they seniors or were they juniors?
No, mostly the town
Town
officials.
employees?
Yeah,
Town officials.
Yeah.
Well, what would
Yeah,
you
town
expect?
officials.
So
they want the
that's what
building,
I'm saying,
Paul.
consider the source.
Right, you can consider the source, sure. It's, most of the folks that are in the decision-making process, select board members, most of the town employees or folks in other departments. When you go to these public meetings, there are a lot of folks there that understand that, like I explained to some of these people, this is not a community center, it's a senior center. And it's just the tone, that's all. It's not the message. They understood the message very well. It's just sometimes it's the demeanor or the approach that we just have to be conscious about that moving forward. That's all.
I find, I understand that completely, and in
Yeah.
the past, it has been ignored. But second of all, I don't think you'd ever see, and I saw the selectmen discussing it when this came up before them, was that, one of the selectmen said, well, no, you can't. When somebody suggested maybe like when we all went to school, you could do it in the school, and, oh, no, I would never approve anything that would take, during a school time. Well, we do them on Saturdays too. I mean, we're not being mean on
Yeah.
Saturdays or Sunday or anything else. And they just see it, I don't know, seniors are very often just pushed to the side. They don't matter. And it's really offensive from one senior to another. And there's just an attitude that they're owed this building, and they're not. They're not. It's for seniors.
Well, I think your point, Paul, like people think of it more as a community center than a
Yeah.
senior center. So that's
Well, they
where
own the
the
building.
line, that's where the line's getting
Yeah.
a little blurred.
Well, I
Right.
will say that I asked two of the selectmen if they had received the letter, and neither one of them had received it. And I was told by one of the selectmen that they never get letters. Very seldom do they actually get to them. That if you want to do that, you have to do it
Yeah.
personally to that
Send
person.
it to each one.
Yeah,
They have to individually go to, and preferably, she said, to their house.
Oh,
Oh,
I've heard
wow.
that too.
But-
that They just
But
don't go
I didn't
through.
think that was appropriate to
Right.
send.
So here we had written a letter that described in detail why we were feeling the way we were feeling, and the selectmen didn't get it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
So, yeah,
That's
where did
maybe
it
why they
go?
thought the tone was harsh, because they weren't.
No, they thought the tone was harsh because I was the tone. No, I mean, my instructions
I
from the
think-
board was
No, maybe
absolutely
they
no.
Didn't have the
But I
earlier
think,
thing.
yeah, they think the whole committee, the whole board here is against it. So,
I think they are. That was my instruction.
and so they, yeah, they really say we're against the renovation of the town hall and.
What does
and
that
it
to do
just-
with it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point. But I do
That's
think-
apples and oranges.
What was
But I do
interesting is
think
that
that-
meeting,
I do think it will affect Diane's opportunity because they see Diane as representing.
oh,
And-
oh.
And I've heard that as well, that, I've heard
Okay.
that as well. That is,
So-
So
you know,
we
so I.
can let it go
Yeah.
down several notches for now.
Yeah.
We don't need to go there.
Well, one of the things I found out at that meeting was they can have this at the town hall if in fact they have a fire detail. And it stopped there because the fire chief said, I can't promise a detail.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting.
Oh, yeah. we're-
Yeah.
Mm.
To see that the town was in that position. But anyway, so the message is, although probably pretty abrasively, the message has been delivered and we'll see what they come back with.
Well, Paul,
They loved having it here, by the way. They
Yeah,
thought-
Oh, they thought it was wonderful.
Yeah, yeah.
It was.
While we
It
were having,
was.
while we were having the meeting with them in this room, was a yoga class going on. And a yoga class going on and rotating. One class came out and
Yeah.
another went in. So they saw the volume of people that
Yeah.
were going into our programs. But yeah, it probably was a bit abrasive, but so be it.
Well, they don't.
Yeah,
well,
want-
pay
if
for it.
they're planning on, can it be that, the town hall, for whatever restriction is holding it back
Fire.
from having the fire, why can't that be corrected before September?
Money.
Yeah,
Oh.
and
Yeah.
I sat on one select board meeting where the problem is if you start doing one proposal, one group wants to just take it a segment at a time, but when you fix, you can only fix so much within a 3-year period. If you fix more than a certain amount, then you trigger all these new rules. It's very tricky. So either you do the whole thing or, but trying to chip away at it doesn't work. And then what do you do? Do you do the fire suppression, but meanwhile the roof is leaking? If you try to do them both, it's gonna be over the cost of what you can do. It's just, it's a mess.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah,
expensive.
I say
Those would be
use
very
the leaky
expensive.
roof. I say use the leaky roof as the fire suppression.
Yeah, can only have election if it's raining.
Very good, very good.
Kill two birds
like
with
it.
Well, just to
That was
kind of,
good.
just to kind of close, just to kind of close this chapter out, I just think that, you know, we've made it known, throughout the town, about our, passion for the center. So with that said, I think that, you know, moving forward, we just have to be mindful of how we, approach other subject matters. Because we're going to these same people for our budget, we're going to them for vans, we're going to them for all kinds of things. And, you know, we want them to love us as much as we love them. But one thing that you really have to understand is that our department is unique from other departments to where our department head and the staff, the employee and the staff, they're sometimes pinned between what the board wants and what
Right.
their boss wants, right? The town manager or the direction that the town hall
Yep.
gives them. So we really have to be mindful of putting our director and, you know, our staff kind of in a pickle, right? So all I'm saying is that, you know, moving forward, we just need to, you know, take 10 minutes to breathe and then give our response to something, just keeping in mind the staff is kind of a town employee as well as an elder affairs advocate.
It's a good point.
That's a wonderful point. And I also have to think, I would like them to know that we don't work for them either.
Yeah, but
Correct. Yeah.
Diane does.
Well, but, oh, I understand that, and I want to protect that with anything. But that you can't. Well, yeah, we can. We can pick up the phone. Well, you know,
Yeah, gently, right?
yeah, I'm not too quiet, so.
No, it's fine, giving them our strong opinion. There's no doubt about that, and we'll continue giving our strong opinion. And they're well aware of that. But certainly, like I said, we just need to be more cautious, I guess, moving forward with certain subject matter. I don't know that there's a whole lot in front of us anymore. Their focus now is to fix the town hall. So I'm sure they'll be
Yep.
focused on that for quite some time.
Yep.
Okay. Any other comments from the board? I'd like then to move toward our nominations. At this point, though, I would like someone to make a motion, because I want to handle the procedure for the nominations as I usually do, but I can't do it as chair. But I'd like someone to make a motion that our vice chair take over for the nominations, and then
So
we'll
moved.
Zoom the meeting.
I just want to make a point of, I just want to make a point of clarification. So the only nomination that is up is for chairman.
Well,
The
I'd
other
like to
per-
do that a little differently too. I'd like to nominate or have the nominations also talk about treasurer and secretary. Because I don't
Okay,
want to
so-
unburden those people without going through the formal process. I hope to keep it the
Sure.
same, but I want to
So-
go through the formal process.
Okay, so let me
So-
just familiarize everyone again with the town bylaw requires that only the chairman once a year be nominated, and they can be consecutive terms. Our bylaws have secretary, treasurer, and vice chair, in which a nomination would be presented if the seat becomes vacant.
Right.
So if the desire of the chairman is to ask, will you serve again as secretary or treasurer or vice chair? There's no nomination for that because those positions are filled until they're vacant. And when they're vacant, then we have a nomination.
Well, I would like to change that. I would like to make it so that we actually nominate these people and have them advise whether or not they want to do it. I don't want to just carry on. I mean, unless you guys don't want to do that. If you want to keep it the way it's been, fine.
But
Yeah, we would have to change-
That's a bylaw.
Well, no,
You would
but
have
I'm
to change the
saying what I
bylaw.
want to do is
Right.
So
go
I-
beyond the
I think
bylaw
whoever the chairman is.
How do you go beyond the bylaw?
to have a nomination.
You'd have to
So-
change the bylaws
No, you-
first.
No, what I'm
No?
offering is a one time. All right, we'll skip it. How's that?
Why don't you just
Yeah.
ask them if they want to keep?
Well, that would be the way we
Well,
normally do it.
she's-
But we haven't stopped the meeting.
Has to do that.
Any
Can
volunteer?
we get a motion to?
I have made a motion for the.
We need a
vice
second.
chair to-
Second.
Okay, so you are now in charge of the board, and I would like to proceed toward our nominations. Okay, so we will nominate,
Is that all right, Diane?
Actually, no, because I don't know what I'm supposed to be
There
doing.
we go.
you're in charge.
I'm gonna run the meeting,
All right,
Okay.
take nominations.
okay.
All right, so we're going to take nominations for chair.
Before I take nominations for chair, I will ask the secretary. if The secretary will continue on as our secretary.
She's the chair now.
No, I'm running the nominations now. So that's why we're not out of the meeting, because we just made a motion.
Yes.
She's in
Okay.
charge of the
Now,
nomination.
will you also stay on as treasurer?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, now, typically our vice chair is appointed by the chair. Okay, so we don't go through nominations there either, because the chair will negotiate with the vice. So I'll announce the nomination for chairman 3 times. You don't need to have a motion, a nomination seconded. But if you are nominated, if you please advise if you accept the nomination and if you will serve if elected. And this is the first round of nominations. We'll do another round next month with the election. Okay? So, first time around. Do we have any nominations for chair?
I nominate Rich Hines.
Okay. I accept the nomination and I will serve at least for another year if elected. Any other nominations for chair? Any other nominations for chair? Okay, that closes the nominations until June, until our June meeting. Make a motion to refer back to the regular meeting?
So moved.
Anyone make a motion?
Tiana just did.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, I'm back in charge.
Thank
Now I'll take,
Good job, Diane.
did a good job, did a good job.
You're officially a puppet.
Okay,
I have a question.
Yeah.
I know that I am up for reappointment along with some other people, and I just wanted to know if they were planning. I mean, you were one, weren't you?
Oh, so listen.
Yeah.
Directions for that is just wipe it out.
why?
Oh,
So
yeah,
if
doesn't
you
work.
have to go, it doesn't work. What you wrote an email to
Yeah,
us.
no, the clerk told me
That
that's what
does
to
not
do.
work at all,
No.
at all, at all.
Look, what didn't
You
work?
have this big thing you have to fill out, and then it asks you, you have to call the town hall, find out if it is your last year, find out if you need the thing, then you have to come back and put it back on there in the, I hung
could-
up and I
I
stopped
did it
it.
3 times and then
Yeah,
I just,
I did
Tracy,
too.
I'm gonna come in and do it by
Yeah.
hand.
That's exactly what
yeah.
I did.
I did as well. I went online to do it and sent it to Tracy, but I don't know if she ever got it. Never heard from her.
No,
It
No,
never-
I-
Mine never populated online, even though I took. it
yeah,
3
I didn't,
times.
I couldn't either, so it's, Matt, I'm gonna go to the town
The
hall.
clerk went through it step by step,
Yeah,
so I
it
just
didn't work.
repeated what she
Yeah,
told me.
baloney. It was never,
Wow,
not one.
that's why I want to find out whether we can book an appointment through this website.
It was ridiculous and I
Very
wasted probably a half an hour of
Yeah,
time
at
and I
least.
never heard a thing, nothing. And when I went back in there, the whole thing was blank.
Yeah, yeah. So I called Tracy and she said, no, I never got anything. So just fill it out by hand and bring it in.
Wow,
Print it.
high tech.
So do we have Rich? Diane,
Rich is not, I'm not due for,
and
I-
Sarah
I'm-
and Paul,
Correct. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. By June,
One,
right?
two, three.
Yeah, end of June. They reappoint in June.
yeah, it's got to go through the select board again, which is pretty
So
much
what'd you
rubber
do with
stamp.
the town hall?
I'm gonna print it off the computer and fill it out again. At least I know what I want to say and take it down there to Tracy personally.
And just tell her,
Yeah,
say to
there
her,
it is, yeah.
do what you know, they, like you couldn't, I called the extension number.
Uh-huh.
To see if in fact I have to do that second year thing.
Oh, yeah, right.
And she didn't seem to know what I was talking about.
Oh, well, the town clerk should know. that.
So I just thought,
keep it.
okay.
Wow,
There's also the conflict of interest.
That wasn't current.
yeah, I mean, that,
That's
that
really-
could- that's
that's
every
really-
2 years.
That's
But
what
they're
Every
good.
important.
I find they've been good about telling you when.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
clerk-
it says they'll notify you.
Oh.
When you need to take.
But yet when you try to fill it out on the form, they want that
Yeah,
information.
they do. They want the date.
Yeah,
So you're like
Or
between
if you
the,
go to the town clerk's office. on
Yeah.
your
You have
way
to go
get
to-
Tracy, she'll.
or,
just-
yeah, or I think I called the clerk and I said, when am I due? Call me. So she has all those records, but no, she printed all this stuff out. Doesn't work, huh?
no,
No.
doesn't work at all. No.
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 So I
High
figured
tech.
I'd wait until I had a day that.
That's
had
what happens when you go to the lowest bidder.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Okay, now I'd like to, ask for motions to adjourn, but I would like us to stay after the adjournment if possible.
Because
We'll get to that.
Oh,
Uh, okay, can I get a motion to
Move to
adjourn?
adjourn.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
So I will stop recording, but.
Well, you can keep recording, but if you can leave,
Okay.
that's what
all
I'd
right,
like
so-
to do.
Okay, I
Oh.
So you can stop, you,
Yeah, I would.
you'll,
say- I
you,
would-
you
I
will
would
need to,
shut it off.
No,
you,
we can't because we got Paul.
you need to stop recording.
Yeah.
You can
Okay,
keep
that's-
the, you can
Can
keep
you
the
stay
meeting
on?
live. You can keep the meeting live, but not record.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Yes,
all right,
thank you.
so-